Hello, my name is Gregg Braden. Almost universally, ancient texts and traditions tell us that we're living an extraordinary time in the history of our civilization and the history of Earth. For the bulk of my adult life as a scientist, I have done my very best to understand precisely what our ancestors were telling us for over 5,000 years through their temples and texts, through the traditions, the spiritual traditions that they left for us. They were telling us something in their language that affects us in our time today. But the question is what? What did they know that we've forgotten? And how can our understanding of their traditions really benefit us in our lives today? Well, as a scientist, I've chosen to look at the facts. And the facts are simply this. It is a fact that you and I are living the end of a rare and mysterious cycle of time. A cycle that began 5,125 years ago in the biblical era, 3114 BC, and it is a fact that our cycle ends with the winter solstice on December 21st of the year 2012 AD. That's a fact. It is a fact that there have been at least 4 of these cycles in the past, possibly 5, depending on which indigenous tradition we're looking at. And each of these cycles is called one great world age. So it is a fact that you and I are now living the last years of the 5th great world age that humankind has known. It is also a fact that each time in the past, at the end of a great world age, the world changed. It is the position of Earth in space, our tilt, our wobble, our angle, our relationship to the sun in the center of our Milky Way galaxy that changes the conditions of life here on Earth. That's not the big problem. The big problem in the past has been how we respond to those changes. How do humans treat one another under the stress of a changing world? Do we fight and compete? Or do we cooperate and work together as a family in this world to get through these changes? This is the question that we're asking ourselves today. And this is the place where civilizations in the past made the mistake that led to the downfall of some of the greatest civilizations known to exist. Civilizations that are now being excavated, physical evidence in Peru, in Bolivia, on the border between India and Pakistan, in Egypt and under the oceans. So we know it is a fact that these civilizations have existed in the past. And the interesting thing is that they collapse each time right at the point in the cycle that they have reached where we find ourselves today, every 5,000 years or so. So the question is, what's different about today? And the answer is that not only do we have an advanced technology that serves us very well, but we also now have the knowledge of the mistakes of the past and the ability and the opportunity to choose wisely from this point forward. Can we learn from our ancestors, from the messages, from the traditions that they left to us that invite us to work together as a family, to bridge the past and the present, to work together and transcend, not just survive, but transcend the great challenges that face us today, to become better people and create a better world, possibly a better world than we've ever known in the past. And this is the challenge that we face today. I invite you to join me in the search to understand our relationship to one another, our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to this earth, our relationship to cycles of time. I have a number of books that describe my search and my journey. If you're more interested in these topics, the book The Divine Matrix, for example, describes the scientific evidence that tells us beyond any reasonable doubt that we are connected to all things. The book The Spontaneous Healing of Belief describes the language that allows us to communicate with that connection, the language of the heart, the non-verbal language of human emotion. The book Fractal Time helps us to understand the cycles of time and what we're only now beginning to understand, the wisdom that our ancestors have cherished for so long and preserved in a way that our own science now has only begun to confirm in the 20th century. So if these things are of interest to you, I invite you to explore them through these works and others. There's so many very good teachers out there right now. But what I want to say is that this is no ordinary time in the history of our planet. It's no ordinary time in the history of our lives, and that this can be no ordinary experience that you and I are undergoing right now. We need you, and we need your wisdom, we need your passion, we need your courage, because we're building a new world in the presence of a world that is collapsing because of its insustainability. The things that are falling apart are the things that are no longer sustainable in our lives. The economic system, the way that we create electricity on the planet, the way that we provide fuel for the people of this world. While those may have served us in the past, they're no longer sustainable. And that is what the change is all about. So please, join me in understanding our past, and understanding the possibilities of our future, and understanding the new relationship that we're building with ourselves and with one another as we begin a brand new 6th world age.